Welcome to Ibis Weather. This is your host, Sarah. This is the update for January 30th, 2026. We are talking about Winter Storm Gianna still as she makes forms this weekend and makes her impacts this weekend. She will be a nor'easter, or also known as a bomb cyclone, which, again, for those who are not familiar, which basically means she'll closely sort of resemble a tropical system, but with it not being that season and having dealing cold air, she does not have will not have the tropical characteristics that we associate with them, but will bring wind, um, and obviously moisture and precipitation. This will be obviously in snow for this particular storm, and then of course extreme cold building in from the north behind her all the way across the country. Well, at least about half the country from plains all the way out to the East Coast, and across the Midwest and Southeast as well. So let's go ahead and look at what we have for our current advisories. Everything in the pink, which is over here, that is a winter storm warning from Southern Virginia, all of North Carolina, all of South Carolina, a little portion of Georgia, a little bit of Tennessee, a little bit of Kentucky, and a little bit of West Virginia. The dark blue is just a extreme cold warning, so we are talking about areas that will be getting temperatures in the lows into possibly the single digits, maybe even below, with wind chill, as we do have that extreme Arctic air coming in behind Winter Storm Gianna. Everything in the light blue is just cold weather advisory, letting people know you will be experiencing cold. And we do have a little bit of a winter storm watch kind of going on over there in Montana and the Dakotas, and a little bit over there on the border of North Dakota and Minnesota. Let's go ahead and look at the live radar. So you do see we are already starting to see some snow showers a little bit earlier than anticipated. Right now it looks like it's from Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, Virginia, and North Carolina. We also have a little bit trying to pop up over there in the middle of South Carolina and in North Georgia, over there not too far from the Atlanta metro. We have a little bit of rain that looks like over there in South Georgia, closer to Okefenokee and the Florida border. We have some moisture down there by Miami. We do see a little bit of, looks like rain snow shower mixture over there in extreme southern Texas, over there with Mexico border. We do have some snow. Kansas and Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, the Great Lakes area, of course, even a little bit over there by New York, a little bit over there in Atlantic Canada, and we also have some over there in Oregon and Washington as well. And that is what the current radar is looking. So we are starting to see some things form and build up right now over here. So it's a little bit earlier on timing. If you remember last weekend, some of the predictions did not pan out exactly as expected, which I don't think is necessarily uh, a bad thing about meaning people's predictions. Just that's weather, the nature of what it is. So it's interesting again, kind of see what this storm will actually become versus what was expected. Let's go ahead and look at the GOADS satellite imagery. So this is what we typically look, or I typically look at and use for hurricane season, the length of hurricane season, which we're currently not in. Again, like I said, with Winter Storm Gianna being a nor'easter, she will be in some ways kind of formed like a hurricane, not completely, obviously not the tropical characteristics. We should not see a cleared eye. I mean, it's been possible. We've seen a couple of those with the nor'easters, but it's not always something that we see. It shouldn't be something we expect. You do see the cold air coming in through the Arctic from the northern plains through the central, and then across, arcing over there across the Midwest into mid-Atlantic and northeast. We are seeing where the moisture is being pulled in from the Pacific and over there in the Gulf. That's coming over across Texas and the Gulf. We do see some of that also starting to form a little bit more over Georgia and South Carolina, and then off the coast of there, and then of course down there by Bahamas and Cuba as well. So I continue to think we will continue to look at this over the weekend, kind of see what kind of it will look like on actual satellite, um, and see what we can expect from it and see if we can really compare how it looks to, tropical system. Because again, this is not a tropical system, but it's like a cousin if you think about it to a certain degree. So we'll kind of see how that continues to form. Right now, it doesn't look like much of anything, but we're starting to see where the moisture is coming in, where the cloud cover, and where we can possibly expect her to start forming, which will probably be somewhere over this entire area. And you can already see the light starting to come on over there in the northeast. So obviously the sun sets earlier there than it is down here in the southeast. So that is always kind of fun to watch as well. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the accumulated 24-hour precipitation for the GFS. This one does show for 24 hours from the, now. Technically, that would be at the 6 p.m. Saturday, January 31st. We do see snow and some, over an inch for certain portions off of the coast of the southeast, a little bit over there in even the Gulf, with the heaviest pocket over there in the border of North Carolina and Tennessee, and then a little bit over there, a little bit more inland, kind of northwest of the Wilmington area. Of course, you see some of it in South Carolina and Georgia as well. We also see some moisture over there again, continuing in the Pacific Northwest, also through Canada, and then of course over there in the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, and Nebraska, and then of course the Great Lakes and the Mid Atlantic as well. So nothing too surprising. Let's go ahead and see what it shows come midnight on Sunday. So you see the snow starting to pick up more. You do kind of see it's already sort of starting to shift away a little bit more northeast, but definitely you see again pockets of heavier snow, again kind of in the coastal plain of North Carolina into a little bit inland from Myrtle Beach, again upstate South Carolina, and the shared border of it between that and North Carolina, and then again over there in Tennessee, and also a little bit right there by North Carolina and where Georgia is. If we go forward by 6 a.m. Sunday, we see that some more. So heavier snow starting to happen in Georgia. It stretched all the way down to the coastline. All of the Carolinas being impacted and feeling the impacts of Gianna. We see more of the heavier snow again, more kind of in the middle of Carolinas. You start seeing it building into Virginia, West Virginia, and Kentucky, and it's sort of even showing a little bit of connection over there by Ida. I can't even say, getting my states mixed up over here. Ohio and Indiana, and then of course the Great Lakes area, which is not super surprising. We do see a little bit more coming down. This central part of the country, the plains, into the central plains. If we look at 12 o'clock Sunday, again, we see it kind of moving out. You see more heavier again, well offshore, which is not surprising. Still lingering over the Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia. It's starting to feel a little bit of the outer I don't want to necessarily call it bands because it's not going to be quite like I said, a hurricane, but starting to get some of the impacts over there into New Jersey, it looks like. Um, and the Mid Atlantic. Let's go ahead and see for 6 o'clock Sunday. This would again show it's starting to feel more. So all of Virginia, starting to, not all of Virginia, I'm sorry. Most of Virginia is starting to feel it. West Virginia definitely getting it. Kentucky starting to move out of Tennessee and Georgia a little bit. Again, the Carolinas definitely getting the brunt of the system. Again, not the heaviest as you can see, not like 3 inches or anything like that. It gets pretty close, but stays pretty well off. Again, this is just a precipitation. This isn't necessarily saying the snow. I don't think it's going to snow over the open Atlantic just because of the salt content of the ocean. I think will kind of prohibit that from happening, but definitely we will be experiencing snow all over here. So definitely, Carolinas are going to be impacted pretty heavily um, by this. If we look at midnight on Monday, February 2nd, you're starting to see a little bit heavier snow over there in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It's definitely still kind of showing this one particular showing some snow or rain potential still in South Carolina and Georgia, but starting to exit out of that more definitely out of North Carolina and Virginia, and kind of shows again it just kind of scraping the coastline of the Mid Atlantic to the north. Uh, New England areas. So, good news for you guys. It doesn't look like you will be getting anything. And I know some people want to say, well, what about Florida? We keep hearing that Florida might get something. I mean, we do see a little bit of green over there in Florida. Will it be snow? I mean, could it be a few flurries mixed in? Possibly. I mean, they certainly could get cold enough for it. As I was mentioning yesterday, they are talking about it raining iguanas this weekend and early next week in Florida because of how cold. But it doesn't seem like if you get anything, it would probably just be a few flurries. It won't be like what Carolinas are impacting, or even Tennessee, Georgia, or Virginia, Kentucky, and West Virginia will be. So that is what we're thinking at the moment. Of course, we could be wrong. Things, weird things have happened, but that is what we're currently thinking. Let's go ahead and look at the Canadian model of this. So again, we're starting at, well, this one is showing at 12 noon tomorrow, Saturday. So you definitely see pretty much all of North Carolina, more than half of Tennessee, the southern half of Kentucky, southeast or southwest portions of Virginia, and southern portion of West Virginia. A little bit even in Alabama, surprisingly here. Again, could it just be rain for them? I mean, they're definitely going to be cold, so it might be snow flurries mixed in with it. Georgia and then South Carolina, though, their coastlines, including Alabama, obviously not really showing anything there. Again, if you notice here, we don't see anything for Florida with the Canadian model. Let's keep going forward. By 6 o'clock tomorrow, it does show heavier snow starting to happen over there, kind of in the coastal plain of North Carolina. Again, the Appalachians in the borders between Tennessee, um, North Carolina, and Virginia. Um, again, it's kind of from Charleston on down. Charleston, South Carolina, that is down. You're not really seeing any snow there yet. It's starting to dip a little bit more precipitation over there into Alabama, even starting to encroach a little bit into Mississippi there. Keep going forward, so it does reach the coastline by midnight Sunday with again pockets of heavier snow. This one is shown possibly, from 4 to 6 inches for parts of North Carolina, which is, I think, I mean, again, I don't necessarily can't necessarily guarantee that's the exact amount you guys will be getting, but it is a decent amount. Definitely potential there. It shows again kind of staying well off the coast of the Mid Atlantic. Um, and New England. Again, nothing for Florida continuing over here. See it again going out, possibly up to 2 inches for over there in the coastal regions of South Carolina and off the coast a little bit of that. Come 6 a.m. Sunday, 12 o'clock Sunday, so noon. Again, pockets of heavier snow in North Carolina is starting to encroach a little bit into upstate and the shared border of North Carolina and South Carolina. You definitely see Delmarva and Maryland starting to get that area, starting to get it. Some again snow, in Appalachians. Again, nothing, not super amount of it, which is good, but still, definitely enough to make the ground pretty for photos. Though probably too cold to do that. By 6 p.m. Sunday, just kind of continue. Do you see a little bit of precipitation over there south of the Panhandle of Florida there? Midnight Monday. Again, you're seeing some of the still lingering over there into Georgia, kind of exit North Georgia, staying along the Savannah River. Again, extreme west corner of South Carolina maybe won't have anything at that point. Again, not all of Virginia, not all of Tennessee, a good portion of West Virginia, and about a little less than half, I would say, of Kentucky. And this one does show kind of coasting along again a little bit more of New England, Mid Atlantic New England areas, getting some, but not completely coming over them. So that's good. Again, this one is showing no snow for Florida, which I know disappoints them. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Euro model. So this one again shows starting at 12 noon Saturday. So again, mostly just snow impacting Tennessee, North Carolina border, and their shared borders with Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia. A little bit starting to go more in a little bit inland of the coastal plain of South Carolina. This one does show some precipitation over from Brunswick, across down through Gainesville and Tallahassee, Pensacola, Florida, over there on the Panhandle, and again, so showing some potential storm or precipitation, I should say, over there for the lower half of the peninsula for Florida. Let's continue to go forward. By 3 o'clock Saturday, again, pretty much the same as what it was at 12. Starting to get heavier snow on the mountains, sheer mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. Um, again, showing Florida having some possibility. Starting to clear out a little bit for southeast Georgia, at least over there in the Brunswick area, um, by 6 o'clock Saturday. And then you see it kind of expanding more. So you're starting to see a little bit of the heavier snow on the shared border of the Carolinas and it kind of expanding down through middle Georgia. Again, potential for half of the peninsula of Florida. Midnight Sunday, pretty similar to what 6 p.m. Saturday shows. North Florida and the Panhandle not experiencing anything by 3 a.m. Sunday. Again, pretty similar for the rest of the states. Keep going forward. Again, pretty similar. So this one's showing, like Georgia staying pretty much well under an inch. Parts of South Carolina may get a little over an inch. Same for North Carolina. This one isn't showing super crazy ones by 9 a.m. Sunday. This one's starting to impact closer to Virginia and the Delmarva area. 3 o'clock Sunday. Again, this one kind of shows it moving slower, which is interesting. But this one is not showing crazy amounts, which is good. I know some people want those crazy amounts of precipitation. Again, we'll have to see, is the Euro going to be the winner? Is it going to be the Canadian? I do think the Canadian is pretty close to what the Euro shows versus the GFS. Again, the GFS loves to kind of show some crazy scenarios that it likes to play out. So we'll have to see which one's closer. We'll keep going forward. So again, pretty much the same come 6 o'clock Sunday. Midnight Monday, pretty much just again the same. Starting to exit out of Tennessee and Georgia a little bit more. Um, Starting to impact New England's coast, at least Massachusetts a little bit, and over there on the very edge of Maine. And that's where we're leaving on that. So again, showing really most of the Mid Atlantic and New England not getting much, which is good news. So all three are showing that. So I think that you guys will fare out better. Will you guys get some powerful wind gusts, things like that? It really kind of depends on how close it rides up the coast to your coastlines. But this definitely is more of the wind and waves and flooding is definitely going to be more of a threat for Carolinas at this point in Virginia and Delmarva. Um, Possibly even I would say Georgia and Florida to a certain degree. Um, but you guys will still be dealing with extreme cold as well up there. So it's not like you guys are going to completely miss out. You're still going to have the cold weather. It just maybe you guys won't get the potential blizzard some people were trying to make it sound like it was a guarantee, like they did last weekend with Winter Storm Fern. So let's go ahead and look at the day one probability of snowfall. It'll be over more than 4 inches. It does show 70% for the Appalachians between Tennessee and North Carolina, a little bit into upstate South Carolina, very northeastern corner of North Georgia. A little bit of, so that's like with your highest number, 40% for pretty much the rest of North Carolina, a little bit into South Carolina, and then everything else is kind of like from 40 to 10% there as well. So again, it's not really necessarily showing to the south may feel like blizzard conditions with that amount of snow, but it's not impossible amount. So that's good. Again, different from what some of the media was trying to show on that. Let's move on to the next one for the next day, day two. And this one is showing again heavier snow for the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and then a little bit over there off the coast of Virginia and Delmarva area. Again, it shows like a 10% chance, a 10 to 40% chance for parts of Massachusetts. Really, that's the only area you're seeing being touched by that. Atlantic Canada will obviously have a little bit of a risk of it too, a little bit more, but it does look like most of the Northeast will luckily be missing out on that. So good news for you guys. I'm sure some will be happy, some won't. So let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast through February 1st, which will be Sunday. North Carolina could get up to 6 to 8 inches from the coastal to the mountain region. It's kind of funny how it's showing more extreme ones for the mountains and the coastal in the middle, more up to 6 inches. Again, we can't guarantee everyone will get 6 inches. We can't guarantee. I mean, you might even see areas of some people getting more than 8 inches. That's possible. We just don't know, but this is where we're kind of thinking. Virginia could get up to 3 to 4 inches. Uh, Delmarva area again could get up to 3 inches in the southern portions, not the entire states, or District of Columbia. Tennessee up to 6 inches in the mountains. Again, I think that would be closer to the shared border of that North Carolina. South Carolina, north of Greenville to south of Myrtle Beach, up to 6 inches. The rest of the state up to 4, and Georgia up to 3 to 4 along the coast. And then, of course, you guys might get a little bit more close to that over there in the northern portions of Georgia. Let's talk about the weather as well going forward. Again, as we saw this time last week, people talking about, oh, we might have another system coming up for this upcoming weekend that could impact the South. The signals are there. We'll continue to watch that and monitor that. I'm not going to touch on that and look at the model runs for that today. I do kind of want to make our main focus about Winter Storm Gianna here, because obviously that's what we're dealing with, and people should focus on one system at a time with these things. So I do kind of want to be that voice of reason there on internet. But it does look like that we're going to continue to see winter sticking around. So it'll be interesting to see what Groundhog Day shows come next week. Can you believe it's going to be February next week? It's just wild to think about. I mean, Sunday is February 1st. I can't believe it. So it looks like we will still be below average for, really from mid-Atlantic and mid-South all the way up the East Coast. It looks like warmer air is building in, so that's good news for the Southern Plains, the Central Plains as well, a little bit into the encroaching a little bit into the Midwest there with Minnesota, a little bit of the western edge of Wisconsin, of course, most of Iowa. So that's good news. And even Missouri getting some of that action as well. So that is good news. Even Alaska, funny enough, even though they're far up north, and that's where all the cold air is coming up, it's from the Arctic Circle over there above Canada and them. They are going to be above average as well. Of course, Hawaii, I don't think anyone's surprised by that. So that's for the next 6 to 10 days, so February 5th through the 9th. If we look at the 7th through the 13th, pretty similar to what we saw in the other one, not a whole lot different. Again, below average for the eastern half of the country. If you think really kind of east of the Mississippi, a little bit west of it for some areas, definitely warmer building up over there. Again, from the Pacific coast all the way kind of into the Central Plains area with a little bit of some of them getting a little bit near normal possible. Again, same for Alaska, Hawaii, and the Aleutian Islands. So that is interesting. So it doesn't look like spring anywhere is near us on that. February 14th through the 27th, it does look like maybe, again, we'll have to see how accurate this is. It does look like the warmth is kind of receding more to southwest portion of the country, and the colder shifting more to the northeast, leaving a fair chance for a good portion of the country to have near normal temperatures for the remainder of February from the 14th to the 27th. Again, we'll have to see how this holds going forward. So maybe there's a chance we might see things starting to trend a little bit warmer. I know for the south part of the country, definitely like February is a month you guys start experiencing spring-like weather more like. So it will be interesting. That might be a time to start thinking as well about severe weather. Might be a chance for that increasing in the central plains could be happening if they are more normal for them. And of course, extreme northeast U.S. would also have equal chances of normal temperatures from Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. So, and even the northeast corner of Massachusetts. So that's a bit interesting. We'll have to kind of continue to wait and see. No guarantees. That's the beauty and the bad news about weather, I guess. There's just no guarantees on what you can expect. But we shall see what will happen. So, again, let's go ahead and look at the current watches, warnings, and advisories. Not as impressive or as colorful as it was this time last week, but still a good portion of the country is dealing with some type of warning, watch, or advisory. So definitely eventful. Again, if you guys are in the Carolinas, hopefully you have all your preps done for this. Even into Eastern Tennessee, I would say, and Southern Virginia. Hopefully you guys have your preps done, your supplies, you have everything you need. Again, I don't, this is not going to be an ice event, so that's good news, but if you guys do get, you know, up to 8 inches of snow, it's possible you guys may still end up having some issues with weakened tree limbs, knocking power out, things like that if you haven't lost power earlier. So there's still that definitely risk. I mean, we're not completely cleared out from the damage, unfortunately, from Winter Storm Fern, unfortunately, at this point. So we'll have to wait and see. I will continue to be posting updates. I still owe you guys a video on kind of what I was talking about with Winter Storm Fern, about what the models showed versus what reality was. Um, Thinking about trying to do the same for this particular system as well, Winter Storm Gianna. Of course, we'll continue to monitor. As we go through the weekend, we will also go ahead and take a look at what next weekend might bring and what we can think or what we might be able to look forward to if there's going to be another round. Some people will call it round three. I would personally consider it round four, considering we did talk about some snow in Florida and Alabama, Mississippi, the weekend before last weekend. So to me, this will be four, but I guess it just kind of depends on which one you've been counting and paying attention on. So thank you guys. Make sure you are following a trusted sources to get your latest weather info. Please let me know in the comments below where you're located, what you're going to expect to experience this weekend, and like and share. I will continue to be posting updates through the weekend here on YouTube as well as on Facebook, which is linked to my YouTube page if you guys want to check it out. And I will talk to you guys later.